So, Natalie, tell me what led you to decide to write up your story in the essay Off the Derech and to share it with people.
Well, I always read Heshy's blog, and I thought it was very funny and interesting. And I don't know, I just one day kind of wrote it up, and I'm like, oh, this would be really funny if other people could read it. So, I mean, yeah.
It is very funny.
Thank you.
You're a really good writer. Do you do much writing?
I don't actually, but everyone's been telling me, oh, you should write a book. So I actually started thinking about it.
Definitely. That's great. Tell me a little bit about the picture on your Facebook. You're carving up some defenseless piece of granite.
Oh, well, my boyfriend's mother is she's a sculptor. She does these amazing pieces that are like very lifelike. And one day she's like, hey, you want to sculpt? I'm like, sure. So I went down to her basement, and she has like a whole shop there. And she just gave me this air drill, and she's like, go for it. I'm like, okay. So it was very like, I'm holding it like because I'm afraid that the drill bit is going to fly out any minute.
So I've got this whole image. Are you a bit of a tomboy? Were you a bit of a tomboy?
No, I'm actually totally not. I mean, I've always kind of stuck to sports. I definitely not a tomboy. I'm very girly, actually. Like, that's why I put that picture up, because to make people laugh, like Natalie's drilling, but I'm usually a very big girly girl.
So when you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh my God, it changed every day. At one point I wanted to write for a fashion magazine, and then another point I wanted to be a businesswoman, and another point I wanted to be an actress. I mean, it really like changed every day. I just like making people laugh, you know? Yeah.
But you're always pretty sure you didn't want to be Orthodox.
Yeah, I was from like a really, really young age. I would say like 8 or 9. I was sure I didn't want to be Orthodox, even though my family was.
And do you have siblings?
I do. I have a younger sister.
And is she off the Derech too?
She is also not religious. Yeah, I mean she was religious up to a couple of years ago, but she's not religious either anymore.
What were your parents thinking when they were when they were living with all these people?
Well, it was kind of like they really didn't have a choice, you know. I mean, I've always asked them, like, why couldn't we just live in a tiny little apartment by ourselves, you know? But it's kind of like they didn't really have a choice in the matter, you know. It was like they came from Israel. They didn't speak a word of English. They weren't legal. They didn't really have anywhere else to go. So when this opportunity presented itself to them, you know, I guess they felt like it was their only choice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't really blame them. Right.
I just can't imagine what it was like growing up, but it sounds like hell.
You know, it wasn't hell. It was kind of like, I don't know, I really didn't think much of it, like, until I got a lot older. Like, I kind of always accepted it as it was like, okay, you know, we have to share the bathroom with 10 people, and, you know, all these interesting characters, but it wasn't hell, you know? It was interesting.
Have you stayed in touch with anyone from that house?
Oh God, no. One man that my parents were really close with, he recently passed away. My parents, I think, might have stayed in touch with a couple people. I mean, they tend to hang around the neighborhood. I mean, I still live in Borough Park, and you tend to kind of see them in the street sometimes, or hanging around Omnons, which is like the local pizza shop here. So you see them hanging around,
Yeah.
It's like a lifetime profession for a lot of these people. you bump into them once in a while.
And is this the correct pronunciation, Meshulach?
Yeah, Meshulach, yeah.
Meshulachim would be the plural, correct?
Yeah, it would be the plural, yeah.
What keeps you living in Borough Park? I think it might be fairly painful living around where you grew up.
Cheap rent.
Yeah.
I live on the same block that I grew up on, but only a couple doors down. But one of the neighbors just offered me a ridiculous deal on rent, and I just couldn't turn it down. So, like $700 for a 1-bedroom, and that's really good in Brooklyn. Utilities included.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really couldn't turn it down.
And did you go to yeshiva?
I did go to yeshiva. I went to an all-girls school.
Until what age?
Until what was it, 10th grade? No, till like the middle of 11th grade, and then I finally I dropped out and went to public school because it was like. I'm sorry. Yeah, what were you saying?
Go ahead. Why did you make the change to public school?
Oh, well, just because I was such an outcast in school, and I had no friends, and I couldn't take it, and I just kind of begged my mother to like just let me go to another school. But it's funny, the rest of my family didn't know about it at all. They still don't. So, yeah. It was kind of my mother and I's little secret that I went to public school.
What were you always unpopular? Public school?
Where in public school or in yeshiva?
Yeshiva.
The yeshiva? Oh yeah, I was totally unpopular. I had no friends. They all thought I was the biggest freak. I mean, I don't blame them, because I always I always kind of like dressed badly, and when everyone had bat mitzvahs, I remember this. I was too poor to buy them to buy presents for bat mitzvahs because people go to bat mitzvahs and buy these like lavish things, and my mother refused to give me any money, so I would go to the 99-cent store and buy like a cheap little thing to give them. And so nobody would talk to me because they were all these like little rich spoiled girls, Yeah. And I was different. So nobody would talk to me at all. It was horrible.
That's horrible. And it was like that pretty much all the way through?
It was like that all the way through. It got worse. As like the grades went up, it got worse. But that's elementary and high school for you. What are you gonna do? Especially in yeshiva, where it's you have such a small class. It's like maybe like 30 kids in the whole grade.
Right. So
everyone's really cliquey, and if it's a private school, they all come from money, and if you're not like them, it's pretty brutal for you. So.
What were the most common things that kids would say to you?
Oh my gosh, it's not like what they would say. It's more like they kind of